Hey, beautiful people. Hope you're having an excellent day. If you have not seen the blog post that this video is going on, let me just get you up to speed. Today is National Coming Out Day, and I wrote a couple of paragraphs just to give it some context, let people know who follow me online sort of where I am after coming out 6 years ago, because day after tomorrow, today's October 11th, National Coming Out Day. Day after tomorrow is October 13th, and it is the sixth anniversary of my publicly coming out. And because a lot of my followers online don't know me personally, I like to sort of use these anniversaries as touchstones, let people know where we are. So I said, because day after tomorrow is the anniversary of my coming out, I have a few reflections and observations that I'd like to share. First of all, I'm amazed at how time flies and at how much things have changed in my life, in my thinking, and in the world at large concerning what it means to come out. And I'm particularly referring to marriage equality. When I came out in 2010, I would have never believed that I could have gotten married as quickly as I did. As of this writing, Ken and I have been together for going on 5 years and have been legally married for nearly 2 of those years. We are very happy, very much in love, very committed to one another. Our kids and grandkids are good. I'm still in the ministry, still a bishop, and for the most part live the life that I at one time only dared to imagine. The avalanche of hate mail that I once regularly received from the mainstream Christian world after coming out is pretty much completely disintegrated and has been replaced by a fairly regular stream of supportive correspondence from around the world. Haven't had a death threat in several years now. Most of my loudest detractors in the Christian media have either lost interest in my story or have died off. My ministry is considerably scaled down in size from what it was, which is frankly the way I like it. And the majority of the people who attend Metron are those who have been in covenant with me for many years. Most of them are straight, most of them are married, and most of them were a part of Church in the Now. I'm very proud of the megachurch that I started and pastored for 30 years, but I don't miss the stress of maintaining the budget, physical property, and staff that was required to keep it going at all. I just do the part of ministry now that I love, and I live a happy, stress-filled, stress-free life because of it. I just wanted to give a little context of sort of where I'm at. My story definitely had a happy ending. Everybody's good. Ken's good. My folks are good. His dad's, they're getting on up there in age, but we sort of pitch in together to take care of them, and they're doing okay. Ministry's doing fine. The reason I always point out that the majority of people at Metron are straight, it's neither good nor bad. It's just a fact. And I don't have a gay church. There's some excellent gay churches here in the city, and they do certain work that I admire and respect. It's just sort of not the arc of my ministry. My ministry has always just been about real people experiencing the real God in the real world. And what happened on October 13th, 2010 is I just took that to a whole other level. This is what I want to say about coming out. Enough about me. Praise God, I had a good story. And let me say this before I get on to what I really want to talk about. Some people say to me, well, why did you make such a big deal about getting married? And why was that important to you? And for people that are uncomfortable with same-sex marriage, don't you think that was even more controversial? Here's my feeling. First of all, Jesus said, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father. I believe in living your life out loud. I believe in letting people know what your story is. I consider my getting married a testimony to the goodness of God. At my age, to come out and meet a good, decent man like Ken that I could be in love with, that understands my journey because his has been very similar. We love being fathers. We wanted to have children, tried being straight, always knew that we weren't. And now to have him know everything about me and be a part of the ministry and love it like he does, that's even exceeding abundantly above all I could have asked or thought of. So I feel like if I didn't tell that part of the story, and I'm sure I've shared this on a video before, but if I didn't share that part of the story, then my story's just sad. I was just like the megachurch pastor that came out and lost his big church. And that's not my story. My story is I told the truth, still have a ministry. My latter is greater than my former. I'm happier than I've ever been. And that's not about being gay, that's about telling the truth. It's the truth that makes you free. And if you don't tell the truth about your life, you can't be free. And if you're not free, you can't really set other people free. I've said that before, but I need to get that said on this video to say what I want to say now. I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that I hear from somebody at least once a week now who is grappling with the idea of coming out, wanting to come out, deciding if they should. Most of these are people who are in the church world. These are like pastors or evangelists or worship leaders, a lot of worship leaders. And their question to me is always, they usually will say something like, "You've been an inspiration to me, but I want to ask you, do you think I should come out?" And I usually say, all right, let me answer that question in two different ways. If you ask me, should everybody come out? Absolutely. Because, baby, if you're gay, that's the way you're wired. Your mama didn't make you that way. That's just the way that you are. There's 10% of the population that's gay, always has been, always will be. There's over 1,500 species of animals in the animal kingdom that have same-sex pairing. It's just a fact of nature. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. Yes, we know God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, but gay people are not against procreation. They're not against straight marriage. When people say, I've said all this before, but I got to get this said again. People say, well, I think marriage should be between a man and a woman. I say, I do too. For straight people, absolutely. When somebody says, are you telling me it wouldn't have been better for you to be married to a woman? I was married to a woman twice, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's me. I'm just gay. I was born gay. I always have been. And I was born anointed. And, some people don't know what to make of that. It makes their head explode. I get it. It made my head explode for the first 52 years of my life. Now it all makes sense. Reconciliation. It's all together. So I didn't even mean to say all that part because I don't ever want to feel like I'm having to defend my life because I don't feel like that. But I had to say that to say this. When people say, should I come out? I will say, yes, I think everybody should. If you're asking me if you should, my instinct is to say, if you even have to ask me about it, you may not be ready. Now, if you're thinking you're going to change, that's never going to happen. I was really brokenhearted to, after 30 years, get in touch with one of the people that I wrote about in my book years ago, that when I worked with my dad here in Midtown years ago, we had what we thought was a great revival among the gay people, and we took gay people through deliverance, and some of them vomited in bags and all kind of stuff that I'm ashamed of now. But this one particular young man, he's very close to me in my first marriage and close to when Debbie and I got together. But he was gay and was trying not to be, and I lost touch with him for 30 years and thought for a long time maybe he had died. Recently got back in touch with him through Facebook, and he said, I don't know what you think about this, but I'm about to go off to a gay conversion therapy place for the next 6 months. I said, well, I can't even say on this video what I said to him. I said, are you kidding me? After all these years, you're still trying not to be gay? And I think in his mind, gay represents when he was young, being in the club scene and going out and drinking and everything. And so I think it's all connected in his head. But it just made me sick to my stomach to think that after all these years, somebody who knows they're gay, always have been, always will be, is still going through the motions of trying to make some straight people happy. That sickened me, and I hope it doesn't. He's away at that camp now, and I hope it doesn't mess him up too bad. I pray every day that bogus places like that will be destroyed, because all they do is mess people up. Just this week, I got a message from somebody who been in the ministry 30 years, and they're trying to come out, been married, the same thing that so many of us did. And all these people in this person's life are putting these bogus prophecies on him, like destruction's going to come on your life and your life's going to be shortened. I want to say, straight people, you don't know what you're talking about. Please leave people alone. Coming out is hard enough as it is without you putting your weird religious mojo on them. And no matter how many times you quote Moses and Paul to them, it's not going to change their wiring. Sunday, Saturday and Sunday was Gay Pride here in Atlanta. It's the 46th annual one they've had here. And, we went there Saturday and walked around, looked at some of the booths and stuff. And the gay preachers, the gay haters were out in full force with bullhorns and, telling everybody they're going to hell or whatever. And I thought, I know in your self-righteous mind you think you're doing the work of the ministry. You're certainly not doing the work of Jesus, because Jesus never even talked about this. And I want to say to all these Christian control freaks, if you really think Jesus is that obsessed with somebody's sexual orientation, then why don't you trust him to be the author and finisher of their faith? Let them work out their own salvation with fear and trembling, and just leave them alone. One thing I hear a lot is some people will say to me, well, I will admit that you probably were born gay, but I don't think you should ever be in a relationship, and you shouldn't have a marital relationship with somebody. You're going to have to spend the rest of your life single and alone and celibate. That so irritates me that these people can go on with their life. They can go off to their life just as long as they make sure you're staying at home by yourself every night. Jesus said, stop obsessing over what's in somebody else's eye and just deal with your own life. How about you just loving people like they are? Romans 13:8 says, owe no man anything but to love him. I got people who are friends of mine who are all over the map with this. I know gay people that are very professionally closeted. I mean, they're not out, they're like out in their personal world, but they're not really out to save their jobs. I have my own issues with that and opinions about that. That's your business. My feeling on that is, look, no occupation or vocation could be more dramatically affected by somebody coming out than the ministry. And I did it. And Ken, he works a blue collar job with real guys. I mean, like guys. I'm not saying gay people aren't guys, but you know what I mean. Like these are beer drinking, deer hunting, NASCAR watching, football loving guys. And they all know that he's gay. We've been out with all of them on his boss's boat. We were just with his boss and his wife the other day. Everybody knows it. Look, if in my world and Ken's world we can both be out and be okay, then anybody should be able to in the year 2016. That's my own personal feeling, but I don't want to get in your business. I don't out people. I resisted the temptation for years to a very high-profile minister who I personally knew was gay, but he said things about me in the press and said I was unfit to lead, and people that knew him and knew he was gay used to write me all the time and want me to out him. They really thought that would satisfy something in me to expose him. And I never did it. That's just not what I do. And when he committed suicide, shot himself in the head, and I went to his funeral, I felt no desire to gloat. I just thought, dear God, I'm so happy I'm out of this system. And I'm sitting at this funeral and all these people talking. I thought if one more person says the phrase, when Jesus called him home, I thought Jesus didn't call him home. He shot himself. He shot himself because he couldn't tell the truth to people like you. And I'm not even mad at him because the stuff he said about me. I hate it. I went to bed for 2 days, just sick to my stomach over it. I hate it now, 2 or 3 years later. And so when people ask me, should I come out? I'm like, yeah, I really think you should. But let me tell you, there will be a price to pay. I had a very supportive world. I'm good with both my ex-wives now, but when Debbie and I got married, I told her I was gay before we got married, and we of course we thought the rapture was going to take place in a couple of weeks after we got married. So I wasn't planning on being married 21 years, but we were. And my kids weren't raised with homophobia. I had a very liberally theological church, a church with liberal theology. So I had a huge exodus of people, but it could have been a lot worse. And I still have, most of the people that come to hear me every Sunday are people that have been listening to me for decades. So my video is different from an It Gets Better video. I love those It Gets Better videos. I'd be happy to do one. But mine is this. To all of you who tell people not to come out. Just let people be who they are. And if you're ready to come out, just do it. There's no good time to do anything. You know, people say, well, we'll have a baby when it's the right time, or we'll, get married when it's the right time, or we'll move when there's no, you just do stuff, and the universe around you adheres to it. Is that the right word? Adheres to it. Anyway, the good news is, one reason I never thought I'd come out is I was afraid that the people in my life that mean the most to me wouldn't love me anymore, and that has not been the case. The ones that mattered have stayed, and they know it all, and I'm free now. So those of you that are coming out today, happy coming out day to you. If I can help you in any way, it's real easy to get in touch with me through social media. It does get better. If you don't tell the truth about yourself, everybody else will hijack your life and tell the truth for you. And listen, you're not getting any younger. If you're going to have any time of authenticity in your life, you need to seize the day. I said way more than I meant to, so I'm just going to shut up now. Happy coming out day, and thank you for those of you who have stayed with me past my coming out and have supported me. I love you more than I can say. Have an excellent day.